beautiful babies. And for those of you who are just stopping by my channel, hi, how are you? Welcome. Today I think that we are going to make some chicken and dumpling soup. It's actually one of my favorite soups. I'm not a big soup person, but for some reason this just hits all the warm cozies. So I really hope that you like it. Sorry about the ring light reflection in my glasses. It kind of looks like I have alien eyes. Oh yeah, check that out. Anyways, all right, let's get into it. Okay, so since we're doing chicken and dumpling soup, I have here, I have 2 large carrots, about 3 celery stalks chopped. I have, I don't know, like measure with your heart, as my lovely daughter-in-law has taught me as far as garlic goes, because we love garlic. And I have 1 onion chopped in here as well, and also some mushroom. It's pretty much like, I don't know, it's a soup. So whatever you have, I feel like you can just throw in there. So let me turn on the stove for a minute. There we go. I'm going to add some olive oil because what we're going to do, we are going to saute these vegetables in here. Just, you kind of want to cook them al dente, which means not all the way done, because you are going to put broth in here. And it just depends on like how, I don't know, crunchy or the texture of the vegetables that you want. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so I've also decided to add like 2 tablespoons of butter because butter makes everything better. And I forgot to mention that I have this on like medium high heat. Medium is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and toss in these veggies. Now, this may seem like a lot, and it maybe is to some people, but I really like a beefy soup. I'm not one of those people that like, I don't know, like brothy is not even a word, but I'm not one of those people who likes, you know, broth-based soups. Does that make sense? I'm not making any sense, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. And then we're just gonna cook all this down and I'll come back. Okay, as this cooks, I decided to add, again, measure with your heart. I'm going to add about that much of thyme. And you can really add whatever like herbs that you prefer, because again, this is like a soup and it's kind of like you adjust it to your taste. I'm gonna also add some Italian seasoning. I was trying to look for some poultry seasoning because I feel like that would be really good in there too. But apparently I don't have any. Okay. And then I'm going to add some parsley. Oops, as I drop the lid. And then I'm going to add some of this. I got this at Trader Joe's when actually I was down in the lower 48. And it's Mushroom Company. It's umami seasoning blend. Now, I'm not going to add any salt to this because usually I use, if I don't have chicken stock already on hand, I usually use like the you know, like in the cartons or whatever, or you can get canned chicken stock. I don't have that, so I'm going to have to use powdered chicken stock, and sometimes it can be pretty salty. So I would rather add salt in the end to taste than add salt now, and then later on when I bite into my soup, be like, I guess it would be sip into your soup. But anyways, have it too salty. So again, according to your taste. Okay, so now I've had this going on for probably like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so. And you can see it's kind of cooking down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I have this, and I'm probably going to do like 3 tablespoons into probably about 8 cups of water. That may be adjusted because I'm not sure if that'll be too much liquid or not enough liquid, but again, just add more if you feel like it needs it. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in actually real quick these like 2 bay leaves in there. And then let's go ahead and put about 3 of these into this warm water. And I'm just gonna whisk it around so that, oh my gosh, if you can hear Rico in the other room, he's playing a game. Okay, so I'm gonna whisk it and get most of the big chunks out of there. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's put that in there, and then we're just gonna go ahead and add the broth to our mixture. Oh yeah, for me, I think that is like the perfect amount, like the perfect water to vegetable ratio. Okay, so I'm gonna stir it for a minute. I'm gonna turn it up to about like 5. And then I'm going to put the lid on it. And then we're just gonna kind of let it simmer for a minute so that like all of the seasonings and stuff like that marry together. And hopefully it's a happy union. And we're gonna work on making the dumpling part. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the dumpling part. So what I have in here is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And to that, I am going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Let me get my measuring spoons here for a minute. And I'm just using pink Himalayan salt because that's what I use when I cook. But if you have any salt, it doesn't matter. I feel like it doesn't matter. And then after that, we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, so we're gonna put that in there. And then we're going to whisk it around for a minute. And because I personally like to have a really flavorful dumpling, I'm actually going to add a little bit of garlic powder. A little bit. To me, that's a little bit. And then maybe a little bit of onion powder. And maybe even some pepper. Okay, so we're going to give that a good whisk. Make sure all of that is whisked in there. I turned a ring light on over here just to make sure that it wasn't super dark. Kind of have you guys attached to a cabinet right now, so I can't really see exactly what I'm filming, but yeah. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna also melt 3 tablespoons of butter and add it to our flour. Okay, so I'm going to add the 3 tablespoons, and I think I forgot to mention that I used unsalted butter. Most of the things that I cook with, whenever I use butter, it's going to be unsalted butter. And then I'm going to do 3/4 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk on hand, that's okay too. You can use regular milk. My mom even one time used powdered milk. So yeah, there's that. So we're gonna add 1. I just like buttermilk because I feel like it's more flavorful in biscuits or things like that. You can also use this as a thickening agent in your soup with a little bit of flour or cornstarch. I don't really like to use cornstarch as a thickening agent, but if it's what you got, then it's what you got. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna gently mix that around for a second. So what I'm gonna also add, I have a little bit of sharp cheddar cheese. I'm gonna add that to my biscuits. And then we're gonna give that a good mix. Now, you can, if you feel like it, you can take this dough out and kind of knead it on the counter, but I'm not going to do that because I personally don't want to have to clean up the flour mess. I did cinnamon rolls for Christmas, and I think I've had enough of flour on counters. So I'm just gonna mix it around like this, give it a good like knead in the bowl. You don't want to use actually, let me rephrase that. If you have salted butter, then you're gonna want to probably decrease the salt in your dumplings, just so you don't like have overkill. Okay, I'm just gonna keep mixing until you want to mix that until really well combined. And as you can see, it's like, it really is like a dough. It's like a biscuit. It's not sticky, and that's kind of what you want. It's just, I guess it's slightly tacky, but it's not really, now it's not really sticking to my hands anymore. So I'm just gonna keep kneading that for a minute. Make sure that all those ingredients are pretty well combined. Okay. All right. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set this aside because the soup is boiling, and what I'm using is shredded rotisserie chicken. I got that from the store, and kind of every week your dad and I will go and get 2 rotisserie chickens and break it down so that we can use it in like several different meals throughout the week. Okay, so hopefully that doesn't fog you guys up too bad. Okay, so here's what we're looking like. I turned it actually up to high to get a good boil on it. And then now I've turned it back down to about 4 or 5. Let's see here. I like my vegetables to be a little bit more al dente. I don't like them too mushy. So anyways, so we still have a little bit of time for that to simmer down. So this is my chicken I was talking about. I like put it into like a gallon Ziploc bag. And I think that I'm probably going to add, let's see here. I'm gonna put it over here. I don't know. I've got like, I don't know, this is like an 8-cup measuring. So I guess about like 8 cups of chicken. But like I said, again, I really like hearty soups. So to me, I may even add more once it cooks down. So I don't know. And of course, you gotta have a bite. Okay. So we're gonna give this a good stir. And I feel like you can use, if you don't have rotisserie chicken, of course you can use chicken breast. And then what you would do in this case is that you could either boil some chicken breasts, and then you could use that as your broth for the base. And then just kind of like add to that. And then cook it down until the chicken breasts fall apart. But like I said, yeah, and sometimes you'll get like skin in there. And if you don't want that, just remove it. All right. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this back up to a boil. We're gonna cook down some of this chicken so it just becomes just a little bit more stringy. Not so much in these huge chunks. I'm gonna say probably for about 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna come back and then we're going to try our broth, and then we're gonna see if maybe we need to add some garlic powder to it. Maybe we do need to add a little bit of salt to it. We'll decide that before we drop in the dumplings. So I'll put that aside, put our lid back on. We're gonna bring that up, turn it on, probably back up to a 6. Once it starts boiling, turn it back down to 4 or 5 and let it simmer. Okay, so now the chicken has cooked down some. You can see it's already starting to fall apart. And then the soup itself. See how it's like thicker? It's not as watery. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to take our dumpling, and I am going to grab a spoon really quick. Now this can be done in 2 ways. Now, you could create, like, let's just say there's 5 of you eating, right? So you could chunk off the dumpling into bigger dumplings or whatever, and put them in there and then cook them that way. Or you can just do several smaller like ones, which is probably what I'm going to do. And then when you would serve it, you just serve like 1 big dumpling in with your soup. But I'm gonna go about like that. Then we're just gonna drop those in. Just like roll it around. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put these in here. And then you're going to let it simmer for about 15 minutes in this. And you're gonna, like, I guess how I tell when it's done is take like a toothpick or something and kind of poke it. And if it feels firm, not like spongy like it does now. So like, okay, so here, if you were to like touch it, you can kind of feel like it kind of gives, where when it's fully cooked, it will be, it won't have that give in there. So we're just gonna keep dropping those in. Now you can do them larger, smaller. It's kind of up to you and what your preference is. I'm just gonna kind of do several different sizes actually. I think it's gonna be really yummy with that cheese in there. And you can see they're gonna get slightly bigger, so keep that in mind. Okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of this and put it in here. We're gonna let it boil like this. I have it setting on 4 right now, and we're gonna set it here, let it boil. We're gonna cover it, let it do its thing for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and check it. I forgot to do the taste test before I put the dumplings in. That's okay. We're going to try it now, okay? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't add salt. I feel like this is perfect. I feel like that's perfect. If I added any more salt to this, I think it's kind of on the verge of being too salty. So, no more salt. We definitely do not need to add salt. Okay, I'm just going to dunk these all in. All right, and we're going to cover that. And also, I guess I should mention also this flour, because you're putting the raw dough in here, will also add to the thickening of your soup. So it's gonna be nice and creamy. All right, be back. Okay, so it's probably been about 15 minutes. And this is what we're looking at. Now, I am going to let you know that I did add probably about 4 cups more water because the dumplings absorb a lot of water. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that. Make sure that you don't burn anything. So you're adding water as needed. Okay, so I'm going to pick a big one. Yeah, those definitely feel done. You can kind of see, that one's kind of stuck together. But you can kind of see how much more firm they are. All right. Break up that big piece of chicken. Here's now is where you make your little alterations. So you can see there's still some chicken stuck together there. Oh, but it smells so good. Oh, it smells so good. And if you notice the broth, see what I was talking about? Oops, get back in there. How the broth thickened up when we added the dumplings. That's kind of what you're searching for. Just kind of mixing it around. And with the bay leaves, you can take those out. You can leave them in. I do not recommend eating those though. Since I already have this one on here, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna throw it away. Okay, we're just gonna kind of mix. Oh, look, I found the other one. Let's just knock that off a little bit. We're gonna throw that one away. I'm gonna give it a good stir. I might actually let it, just let it simmer for another 5 more minutes or so, just to help break up some of these bigger pieces of chicken. Probably what I should have done is, you know, used a fork and kind of broke them up, or just with my hands, break it up a little bit smaller before I started the soup. But hey, I don't think anyone's going to complain if they get a good helping or a piece of chicken. Okay, so yeah, I'm probably gonna let it go for about another 5 more minutes, and then we will serve some up. Okay guys, okay, so this is, let me see here, I'm gonna pull you down a little bit. That's our chicken and dumpling soup. Okay, you can kind of hear it going on over there, still cooking. But, sorry, I'm just trying to get used to moving this thing around and talking at the same time. Okay, that's a little wonky, but that's okay. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it didn't take very long and it didn't take very many ingredients, but it like smells wonderful. Let me get a spoon here real quick. All right. We'll just get a little bit of everything on there. Ooh, the carrot's a little bit wonky, but anyways. Perfect. It's so good. Okay, well, I hope you make it for yourselves, my beautiful babies, and I will see you next time. Bye.